Hey everybody, Stu Smith here going live, and we are going to take some live questions and I will give some answers as well as do some CSS critiques for you guys. I usually do this on Tuesday. Week got busy this week. Now it is Wednesday, so happy Wednesday. Let me see, wrote a couple good articles this week. Wrote one on becoming an asset again. It's mainly for the OGs. You guys over 40 that may have succumbed to some injuries, whether it's just regular life or it's a tactical profession, and you're trying to get back in shape and rebuild. There's actually a whole series of programming that I would recommend for you. There's this one right here called Tactical Fitness for the Athlete Over 40. That's a more advanced one. This was my first one that I wrote in the series, which would actually be part 4. And the other three are rebuilding the foundation, taking it to the next level. So you got a beginner, intermediate level there. Then you got ready to compete, which is pretty much high, intermediate, advanced level workouts. And then you have the tactical fitness. And probably the one factor that is the most important element of that programming is the midweek mobility day. Today was my mobility day. It looks like this. Do 5 minutes of biking, followed by 5 minutes of stretching or foam rolling, figuring out what hurts you, what aches you, what's tight, kind of play around that for a little while, and just keep on moving. Did that for an hour. Going to top it off with swimming this afternoon. Just a nice, easy day. And you have to earn them, however, or be seriously not feeling good, right? Because it is an easy day. So if you're Monday and Tuesday, it's a good upper body, lower body split. You're feeling some of the soreness from those 2 days, not necessarily killer soreness, but just tightness from previous days' workouts, which is very common. Mobility day is a nice little refresher, get all the kinks out, especially as you get old and you're dealing with what I just discovered today. Um, just did the math, and I have been training now for 40 years. So I started training when I was 12. I'm now 52. And I will say that my first 20 years were a blast, but not the smartest. I played sports, a lot of contact sports, a lot of injuries involved with that. Rough, just being a boy, growing up, getting accidental injuries, sprains, and breaks, and things like that from just doing stuff. And then going into rugby in college, training for special ops. That whole level of fitness was a big challenge. And then 8 years in the teams. That had its aches and pains as well. And not really a smart system at all going through that process. It was a lot of overtraining type injuries I was dealing with throughout the years. But I figured it out when I turned 30 and created that seasonal tactical fitness periodization model. Just renamed it that because it's basically what it is. Spring and summer focuses on calisthenics and cardio a little more, endurance, muscle stamina. Fall and winters focus on reducing some of the mileage, reducing some of the reps, and rebuilding some of the joints and muscles with lifting. It doesn't have to be weights; it can be sandbags or some other form of resistance training, TRXs or whatever. I kind of mix it all together to try to get a good variety in there. Um, and then you come back around and deload from the lifting and you turn it into more of a progression into running and calisthenics again. That has been a cycle I've been doing now for 22 years, teaching it for that long as well. And it has changed my life with almost all overuse injuries going away, unless I just do something stupid and push too hard one day, which can happen to everybody. But it's not part of the programming. Um, and there you go. I mean, that is that's it right there for me. Not having those aches and pains that I used to have. And then after I turned 40, I started doing, which was 12 years ago now, which seems like a blink again. Um, Doing that mobility day, which is once again life changing. In fact, I wrote an article called "Don't Skip Mobility Day," and I would highly recommend it. Check it out. In fact, I will put it into the discussion below. See if we got some comments here. Oh, yeah, it looks like we're moving. Happy to take some questions now. But let's see. I had one more really cool article for any of you. If you're an older guy out there, for you OGs, check this out. This is really good. Becoming an asset again. But it's also good for people who are younger that just are now having to rebuild after an injury. It's a good system to, help you rebuild as well. So there we go. Let's see what we got here. When I squat, my knee clicks. It also clicks when straightened. Do you have any advice? No, not really, other than, maybe do some strengthening exercises of the thigh and hamstring. Could be real basic, like, leg extension, leg curls, even. Um, Nice and slow movement. See if that helps. But for me, I mean, there's always a joint somewhere that is clicking or popping or, things like that. As long as there's not pain associated with that, I wouldn't worry about it too much. Um, every time I do flutter kicks, I can feel something in my hip pop. And it's not a popping sound like it's breaking, it's just a clicking sound. But it has never bothered me at all. Whether I run, I ruck, swim with fins, constant flutter kicks, whatever, has never really bothered me other than I just notice a click. So, if it bothers you, I'd go get medical advice because or at least a physical therapist. Um, as I don't see an issue with it, but there may be an issue with it. I don't know. It just depends on what is actually clicking in there. Let's see. Good body weight for someone going to buds at 6 feet tall. Currently 205 and auto qual. Those are good scores. In fact, I am also 6 feet tall at 205 still, by the way. But when I was at buds, I was 195. And at least through first phase, I think I might have dipped down to 190. But I never got over 200 pounds at buds. After buds, yes. But I was somewhere in the 195 range, which isn't that hard to get to for you. It's gonna, that height and weight is perfect, I think, as it is heavy enough to have some durability under boats and logs, but at the same time, not too heavy, like a 215 or 220 at your body weight or at your height, that would interfere with running pace, interfere with obstacle course, grip exercises. Because the heavier you are through that obstacle course, your hands are going to fall apart eventually. I've seen guys 230 not get through the obstacle course because they just couldn't use their hands anymore. So the lighter you are, I think the better, but you don't want to go too light. At least for the first month. Get through Hell Week. If you want to go lighter because it turns into a running and swimming game after that. Some rucking too. Okay. About calisthenics. When have to start adding weight to keep the number of repetitions in a good range? When do you have to start adding weight? I don't think you need to for that purpose. I think you just need to for the purpose of you don't want to do high volume year after year after year without cycling out of that high volume and doing lower volume with weighted activities. So that would mean, for instance, I might be able to drop down to a set of 60, 70 push-ups in a minute. However, when I put my feet in a TRX and do atomic push-ups, I might be able to get 30. So I just cut my reps in half by just making it a little harder, right? You can do the same thing with, bench press or weights or, dumbbells, um, all those activities, just other ways to supplement calisthenics, um, and typically just make them harder. Weight vest is another good option, to cut your pull-ups in half, if you're going 20-pound weight vest. Um, so I wouldn't think of it as a performance range. I would think of it more as a joint health range. Just like we cycle out of running and all the non-impact, impact activities, um, when we're lifting, try to pull back some of the mileage. That is typically for joint and bone health more than anything. Same for calisthenics. We cycle out of calisthenics into lifts, give the joints a break, and try to rebuild them with some strength activities. Hope that helps you answer that question. All right, Andrew again. Do you have any updates on the Buds compound construction? Our classes training out of there, or how is that working? I can find out that answer for you. Got several guys I know who are still there. Bud's compound construction is still ongoing, but there are places where they are training nearby, still on the Strand. A lot of beach PT. I think they do now have a converted parking lot that's a grinder, which kind of sucks. But it's available. They're still training. However, a new Buds class does not start until the new year, so they are going to have a gap of about a month and a half between the last tail week and this next tail week. Well, probably more than that, because next tail week probably won't be until probably February, maybe. Last one was about a month ago. So, but once again, they don't need people, so they will typically drop some of the class sizes down one, but they'll also ghost a class time and just not have somebody go through the winter phase. That's been a typical thing that you've seen over the years. Let's see. Hey, Mr. Smith, you told me and said it over and over. I'm a power lifter and failed my PT test yesterday. Ouch. Yesterday, I got my ass out of the gym and started cardio my ass off. Yeah, so no problem there. I've been there, done that. And I will tell you that the one thing you don't want to do is run too much right now. The last thing that you want now to interfere with your training is overuse injuries in both calisthenics and cardio. So progress logically, just like you would progress with heavier weights, progress with more reps and more mileage over time. Typically a 10 to 15% increase each week is a logical progression, as long as you're not having any aches or pains during those weeks of running and doing calisthenics. But yeah, I would definitely make your workouts look like a PT test for at least the events of a PT test. You can do some supplemental stuff in there, exercises if you want with weights, but I wouldn't go too heavy, and I would definitely get on the cardio machines. More non-impact than running, so I would say maybe some bike run combos are really good. Those will at least get your heart and lungs going without the impact of all that running. So let me see. Let me take one more question and we'll go into a video here. When do candidates and buds usually get off for the day? What are nights like? Do the guys prepare their things for the next day? Yes, there's a lot of preparation for the next day. So you might get off some days early. Let's say after dinner is your last event, so 6 p.m. But you may be up for the next 4 or 5 hours preparing all the events for the next day's, all the equipment for the next day's events, whether that's a swim, boats, there's jet skis that you have to get ready for, swims for the instructors. There's a whole lot of stuff, a lot of to-do lists that you will do. Often, especially in first phase, the days are long, go into the night, very challenging, and then you got to do all that stuff on top of it, and it may interfere with your sleep for those first 4 weeks. Afterwards, it gets a little better. After Hell Week, it gets a little better, and the days are, you'll be surprised at how much time you have. Um, some days, not all days, but some days, which is nice. You can kind of lick your wounds, stretch it out, maybe go out to eat, get a little extra calories in there. Um, then there'll be nights, you'll do night diving and dive phase, so your days will be long on top of all the extra events, the normal events of buds, 4 mile runs, 2 mile swims, obstacle course, PTs. And so the days are long in dive phase as well. So there's, you will be working at night. That's just how it goes. All right, let me pull up a video here. I think we got this one submitted yesterday, so it's a new one. I will say this though, it's sometimes it's a little awkward when you get a video and the person who is um, swimming or person who is filming it is just standing still. So some of the best ways to get these videos to me is have the person walk alongside the pool with you as much as possible, because I really can't see a whole lot right here. I can't tell if your front leg's going the right direction. But I will say this, you have a really good arm pull, top arm, bottom arm, kick and glide. This is really good. Kick and hold that glide. Let me see if you get the 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, pull. Nice. You got the time. This is better. This 50-yard swim. Okay, so this isn't too bad walking around. This is how I like to see the videos. You can just walk alongside the guy swimming. Only thing I see is that high elbow. That's called sharking. You may get called on that by some instructor. I really don't see the big deal of it, but it is very obvious in open water when you are swimming that way. So I would, the goal of this stroke is learn how to be stealthy with it. So when you are swimming, it actually looks like some other kind of animal. Doesn't look like a human with an arm coming out of the water. Besides, this is what's called an underwater recovery stroke. And this is, half of your arm recovery is out of the water. So all you got to do is keep your elbow down after the pull and bring it forward. Hope that helps with some CSS. Did you guys see that? Got any questions on that CSS stroke? I mean, it's pretty good. Pull, breathe, kick, glide. Hold the glide for 3 seconds. Other than that minor little high elbow, that was pretty good for me. Let's see. You guys send in some questions if you have them. I'm just going to do another CSS video here. Looks like we got one with fins on it. And I can't remember if we did this one last week or not. Not 100% sure. Pulled it up off Instagram this morning, but it might have been a last week one, but we'll see. This one's kicking off the wall, got some big fins on, doing a lot of dolphin kicks. I do recommend this. Only do one dolphin kick. Yeah, I don't like the multiple dolphin kicks. Some people do. I find it not to be that fast, but if you need a break from scissor kicking or flutter kicking, the dolphin kick absolutely is an option for you. The only thing is when you do a scissor kick, you want to be on your side. You see how you're kind of like on your like quarter turn. That's really good for dolphin kicks. You don't need to be on your belly when you have a pair of fins on. A lot of times when you are on your belly with a pair of fins on, your feet come out of the water and it just makes it a little awkward. Here, let's see what we got here. Do this over. So good streamline. Okay, here's something that I do like to do. When I kick off the wall, do 1 or 2 dolphin kicks off the wall just to build your momentum. That's really all you're doing. And you will only do that in the pool unless you need a break from flutter kicking. Let's say your hips are hurting or something, you need to do more dolphin kicks instead of scissor kicks or flutter kicks. And that's what you would do. So if you notice a couple of times, there you go. So he kicks, he does a scissor kick on the side, which is correct. But you see that right there? That's what I was talking about. I knew I saw it happen. When you do this kick here, right here, like his fin, he's kind of rolled over on his belly a little too much. And that fin comes right out of water. And all that does is not that it's a big splash, it just cuts the movement of your kick in half. So you can kick much bigger when you're on your side, but if you do a scissor kick on your belly, your kick actually gets shortened because you can't lift that big fin out of the water, and you don't want to. Yeah, I personally don't like the bunch of dolphin kicks. Some people do, some people don't. I'm one of those guys that will use it when I need it, but it's not a majority of my kicks. I tend to do this. I tend to do a constant flutter kick on my weak side and a scissor kick with little flutter kicks on my strong side. But that's what works for me. And that's the beauty of some of these strokes is you really need to find out what works best for you. All right, let's see. Thanks for the CSS critique last week. You mentioned the Freestyle Catch. I looked into it. Any tips? Yeah, Freestyle Catch is very important. The way I explain it is when you're pulling water, you want your forearm to be vertical, right? Near up and down, right? So you're pulling water coming in all of this right here. So your hand, your fingers are going to be lower than your wrist. Your elbow is going to be lower than your shoulder. Or your wrist is going to be lower than your elbow, and your elbow is going to be lower than your shoulder. You're grabbing water like you're reaching over a barrel to grab the bottom of the barrel, and you're pulling all of that water with your lats, and then you're pushing it with your triceps. That is a good freestyle catch, and you will get a lot of power at that. Supplements at buds. No, you cannot have them. It is a rule. You cannot do supplements at buds. Do people get away with it? I'm sure they do. I did not. Back in the early 90s, supplements weren't that great. We never really used them. What we did is we would go out after dinner, a couple hours getting all of our gear ready. We'd go eat a burrito at one of the Mexican places down the street and get another 500 calories, get ready for tomorrow, go to sleep with a full belly. That's how we supplemented with burritos. Our instructors in Swonex say that if you dolphin kick more than once during the final PST at boot camp, they can make you start over. Does that sound accurate? You know what? Whatever rule they have, you need to follow it. A lot of times you will find these arbitrary rules thrown in there just to see how you handle the new rules. So that means, no goggles, no kicking off the wall with a dolphin kick, no double arm pull. You have to face the same wall the entire time. So that means every length you have to change sides. Weak side going one way, strong side going the next. And those are some of the rules that get thrown at you, truthfully, arbitrarily, just to see how you handle rules. I have actually seen rules thrown at people. They completely get flustered, they can't do it, and they leave. They quit the test. So I think some of the reasoning behind some of these rules is just to see how you handle change, how you handle something new, something different. That is a skill that you should be able to handle, whether you're running on a track, you're running on a treadmill, you're running on a trail in the middle of the woods. Doesn't matter what you're running your mile and a half on. You still have to run a mile and a half. Same for swimming. Is it a meter pool? Is it a yard pool? Is it a 50-meter pool? 50-yard pool? Doesn't matter. You have to figure it out and crush it. But I wouldn't worry about it. If that's the case, then that's the case. I've seen it where guys dolphin kick. I don't recommend dolphin kick more than once anyway. Um, and I'm not sure when you say PST at boot camp, I don't think they're even giving PSTs at boot camp anymore. They're giving them, you have to go finish boot camp and then you go to Bud's Prep out in California. So there's a lot of changes coming on. You have to be flexible enough to handle those changes. Hope that helps. That's a little beyond fitness, but that's the way it works. Just auto-qualified for SO contract. Bravo. Now you just got to the training. Start training yourself to get through the training, right? To and through. 2 phases of tactical fitness. Do you have any advice to stay in shape at basic since there's no Spec War boot camps? Even when they had Spec War boot camps, they sucked. It wasn't anything. You wound up getting less sleep with, maybe you got some swim time in there, but it wasn't substantial enough to produce improvements outside of boot camp. So everybody got out of shape at boot camp anyway. So I think they just said, you know what? We're not getting people in shape during boot camp. Why do this? I can see the logic in that. So it's kind of on you. And you need to find places and time in your day to be doing extra push ups and sit ups and flutter kicks. If you can't run, do lunges. Um, this might mean waking up an hour early or staying up an hour later when the lights are out, doing your own thing, working out. Um, I have heard laundry duty is a good duty because there's like these things you can do pull-ups on in there. Don't know if that's changed or not, but that was something everybody did, to find a bar like where you would hang a lot of laundry. You could actually do pull-ups on those while you're waiting for laundry to dry or wash. So let's see. Let's see. Heard from a guy in the pipeline that Bud's prep is just 7 weeks of bow, pretty much. Yeah, I would agree with that. It's all pretty much the same program anyway. And I'm glad they moved it out to California because, when it's out in Great Lakes, I mean, your seasonal weather issues are horrible. I mean, there's times when you can't even go outside to train. At least now you're going to be able to go swimming in the water that you're going to be taking your swim tests in. You're going to feel what the water feels like for, uh, surf torture. Um, you're going to be able to learn how to swim straight uh, right there because you'll be living on the place where you'll be swimming about 100 yards. Enjoy the beachfront property because that's one thing the Navy gives you: beachfront property, pretty much everywhere you live, or at least work. Um, and it's beautiful out there. So I think it's a great thing moving everything out there. If you call it prep or bow, I don't care. Same thing. It's pre-buds. Back in my day, we had 3 weeks of pre-buds. You just had to pass a 4-mile timed run, a swim, a PST, and an obstacle course, and then you could class up. I think I was in that phase for 2 weeks and classed up. So not sure if that's better or worse, but it's a way that they've done it. So whether that's 7 weeks of bow or 7 weeks of prep, who cares? It should help you get in better shape prior to boot camp. Okay, Mr. Smith, what would you do to pass a 5-minute step test on a 14-inch stepper? I'm 6 foot 350. Woo, big fella. Trying to become a border patrol agent. You're a big squatter, I see. Leg press, yeah. Tell you what, just carrying around that weight will make you strong. I would definitely. I'm assuming you're trying to also lose weight. I would imagine you probably need to be 100 pounds lighter. So I would literally walk my ass off and be honest with you, I'd quit lifting weights like that because that's just going to keep on a whole bunch of mass that you probably already have. Big old legs. Um, yeah, the lighter you are, the easier life will be. So, um, weight loss, food intake, I would probably start doing elliptical more than step test, or maybe a stair stepper. Is fine. Um, just to practice the movement, and as you lose weight, it will slowly get easier. You're strong enough. You don't need to worry about strength. You got strength enough for two people. Um, so I would worry more about endurance and muscle stamina than I would one rep maxes because it's two different animals. So, yes, that's what I would do. Most memorable part of buds. I would say finishing it is probably the most memorable. Finishing Hell Week, crushing pool comp or OC8 the first time. Got through that without having to fail it. That was nice. Remember handling demo for the first time, and everybody was real careful with it. We're treating it like it was a baby, right? And this instructor comes up and says, "You guys are walking around carrying this demo like it's precious cargo or something. Here, give me one of those things." He grabs a sock of C4 and kicks it like 50-yard, just punted it. He goes, "It's not going to blow up in your hands. Quit acting like a bunch of babies." I was like, "Huh, this stuff is pretty stable, like they say." So that was pretty funny. Um, that's third phase blowing up stuff. All right, this is exciting. Mentor told us 3 PSTs at boot camp. Now it's unknown. Nice. You'll be lucky to take a PST at boot camp. To my knowledge, I just had a group of guys go through, and they said they have not taken any PSTs. Maybe they did one at the end of boot camp, but I'll find out from this latest class that just finished boot camp. But they wrote a letter, and by the time that letter got to me, it says probably about 6 weeks in. So he wrote it at about 4 weeks in, and they had still not taken a PST. So not sure. Just be ready to take it. That's all that matters. Don't sweat it. You should be crushing that PST anyway. Never be like even considering close to failure on any event. Crushing that thing, even on a bad day, you can still pass it. That's where you want to be with your fitness. When running, what percentage do I continually increase weekly to get higher into daily miles? 10 to 15% is the going rate, right? Is what every running coach recommends to be a logical progression. Do some people progress higher? Absolutely. Some people will progress 20%. So I don't recommend that, especially if you're susceptible to shin splints or tendonitis, IT band pain. Um, I would progress logically, right? Are you new to running? Then progress logically. Have you say done 20 or 30 miles a week 6 months ago and you just pull back a little bit, maybe drop down to 15 miles a week? You could play around with steeper um, steeper progressions. versus going by 10 to 15%. So just kind of depends on where you are on your running abilities to how you figure out your increase weekly. I would be more conservative if you're susceptible to injuries or getting over an injury or your first time running versus being a little less conservative if you've already been running and you've got a good base of 15 miles a week and you want to get up to 25 miles a week. That progression can probably move, closer to the 15 to 20% each week. I tell you what, fitness is not rocket science, but at the same time, it there's no one answer for anybody. And that is something that I try to coach, whether that is swimming styles, it's, when you grab a book, a training program like one of these, um, it's not a personalized program for you. So you may need to personalize it for your abilities, your facilities, your equipment, the time per day that you can invest in training, number of days per week. All these things depend on you, and not necessarily a program that you find that is generically written. You are going to have to fix that accordingly. Right? You may not be able to get the whole workout done in a single session because your pool's closed in the morning, right? Because swim teams are in it. You may have to swim at lunch. That's what we do. So there you go. No one stop shop for people. All right. Do you have any sort of way to simulate rucking uphill? I was thinking step ups, wearing a ruck, but it feels like the Stairmaster wasn't quite cutting it. You know what? Stairmaster is the way to go. I just wrote a great article um, with weight vests and stair steppers. Firefighters turned us on to this probably about 10 years ago. I just posted it. It's a really good article with a whole bunch of great methods to train. It's not just you stepping, it's a variety uh, of workouts in there that you can do. But yeah, you put on a 40 or 50-pound weight vest and just start stepping. Do a series of Tabata intervals. There's so many different other things you can do, but that is a great leg workout. Another one is 400 meters worth of lunges. I promise you, if you're trying to get your legs in shape for running and rucking, lunging is a great one. But if you can't find a hill, find stairs, a bleachers, um, big football stadium. We used to run stairs all the time. Um, but yeah, hills are the best leg workout for me, I think. Hills or stairs and lunges. All those are pretty good. Cool. All right, let's see. Maybe I missed a question. Did I miss any questions? Doesn't look like it. If I did, just repost it if you didn't see it. I don't think I have any more videos to show. Let me see. I might have one more video. I think I showed some of these last week, but I'm not sure. Might have gotten them last week, but I never did it. Yeah, let's do this one. I don't think I showed this one. All right, so here we go. Sharing the screen. All right, so we got a good streamline kick off the wall. That's what you want to do. See that one hand on top of the other, shoulders, biceps on your ears. Really nice. All right, good kickoff. Notice the jammer shorts. Tell you what, man, if you can learn to streamline like this and wear jammers for your first time, you'll probably drop a minute off your time just by changing from board shorts to jammers. And then, of course, add a good streamline to it. Let's see what we got here. I think I showed this one last week, but we'll go through it again. It's actually not bad. Top arm, bottom arm, kick and glide. Yeah, I think this was the good version. He was all jacked up the last time. So this is pretty good. He's kind of by the numbers. If you notice, it's a top arm, bottom arm inhale, kick and glide. That's by the numbers right there. Could it be better? Yeah, I think he probably needs a better freestyle catch, that top arm pull. If you don't know what that is, just Google the term freestyle catch. Freestyle catch. Go to YouTube and watch some swimmers teach you how to do it because they're much better at it than I am, and probably better at teaching it than I am. But that is a powerful top arm if you can grab more water with it, kick a little better. It's not bad. He's got the numbers down. He just needs to fine tune his kick and his pull a little bit. Let's see what we got here. Nick John asked, knotted muscles. Been having these problems lately. Any advice? Do what I do. Mobility Day. I posted an article in here right when we started called "Don't Skip Mobility Day," and it's just one of those things that helps you work out any of those kinks that you have in the middle of the week. But another thing I like to do is at the end of a workout, do a mini mobility session, which is just 5 minutes of biking as a cool down, 5 minutes of stretching, foam rolling. Do that twice. So it's 20 minutes of a cool down, and that should help you work out any of those knotted muscles. If you feel like foam rolling is something you need more than stretching, then use the foam roller more. But if it's something you can stretch out, try that. How do I progress quicker in pull ups? Well, the story of pull ups is you have to first work on your strength so you can do one pull up, right? Your first pull up is a strength exercise. Your 10th pull up or your 20th pull up is now an endurance exercise or muscle stamina exercise. So, my recommendation, if you can do a couple, now it's time to start really working those muscles in a way that's going to build stamina. So, for instance, let's say you can do 3 pull ups. I would try this. I would get up on that pull up bar, do your 3 pull ups, shake it out for a second, change grips, see if you can do 1 or 2 reverse grip. Then go straight into a really heavy pull down. So maybe you're only getting 4 or 5 reps with a pull down, like probably close, not quite your body weight, but maybe 75% of your body weight. Then go into bicep curls and then see if you have anything left with some dumbbell rows or machine rows. That way, what you're really trying to do there is create this complex circuit that is going to focus you on building muscle stamina so you can last a little bit longer on that pulling exercise. That's my method. Um, Pyramids work really well with that. See how high you can go up on the pyramid, come back down. Um, Supersets, max rep sets. In fact, you know what? I'm going to put in here. I use this article so many times that all I have to do is type the first letter in it and it pops right up. It's called Three Favorite Workouts to Crush Fitness Tests: the pyramid, the superset, and the max rep set. These are awesome. Highly recommend them. We usually do the pyramid on Monday, superset on Wednesday. Usually give it another couple of days and go Saturday with a max rep set, kind of like a Murph, where you get 100 pull-ups in as few sets as possible. Now, obviously, if you can only do 2 or 3, 100 is not the answer. You're probably going to need to do maybe 25 in as few sets as possible. You want to try to limit those max rep sets to about 5 to 7. Um, if you're hitting really max rep sets to really push that perceived limitation. But yeah, pyramid works wonders, like JG said here. I love it. It's one of my favorites. Um, let's see. Any other things? I don't have any more CSS videos, but If you guys didn't know, I have a whole page on TikTok, nothing but CSS videos. It's actually been a lot of fun. Um, posting posting CSS videos on there. So you can just see it's, I don't know if you can see that. Nothing but me voicing over. I think I got about 100 videos in there now. And you talk about one-stop shop for CSS issues, that is it right there. I've talked about just about everything on there. I probably have as many on YouTube. They're just harder to find because now I have podcasts on there. I have exercise videos. I have live Q and A's. Um, so there's a whole lot to sift through. I think I have probably 500 videos on YouTube channel. But when I first started YouTube, back before there was Instagram and TikTok and even Facebook, um, I would post all of my swim videos here. So there's some older ones, but they're pretty good. Pretty. They still go over the basics. So you got to check out that one. Also, you guys go to Stu Smith Fitness. If you guys use a coupon code called Compete20, you'll save 20%. In fact, I'll put it in here. Compete20 at StuSmithFitness.com. Save 20% on whatever you're looking for. Books, ebooks, fitness programming. So I don't see any more questions. I'll give it another minute if you have them. I do appreciate you guys coming in, tuning in. If you guys if I didn't answer your question, just send it to me, stu@stusmith.com. Um, if um, if I didn't answer your question, you can email it. Once again, email it to me or DM me. Send me a video, same way. If you want me to critique it, how do I? Last question I'll do is work capacity. In fact, if you go to the internet, Google work capacity with my name in it, I actually wrote an article on this a while back ago on military.com. Just found it. I'll put it in here. Um, work capacity is a combination of muscle stamina and endurance. So cardiovascular, aerobic, and anaerobic endurance, as well as muscle stamina. That is what work capacity components are. Um, the However, the other side of that coin is durability, which is a component of strength and power, speed and agility. You know, also some mobility, flexibility can be thrown in there for both of them, just for overall um, dealing with aches and pains and overuse stuff. Um, but those are the two things you're looking for. You're looking for work capacity and durability. In fact, um, I created a Venn diagram, which I post often in tactical fitness articles. In fact, if you Google seasonal, in fact, I'm going to put it right here. I made a Venn diagram that work capacity is a very important part of it. Check out this article here, and it explain it in a Venn diagram better than I can do it in words. You just kind of see it, and you're like, oh, that makes sense. And you'll see the overall goal of what we're trying to do when we talk about tactical athletes and tactical fitness. It's more than just a PT test. It's more than just getting through a selection. It's actually growing old in the career and dealing with stresses of the career, um, as well as the physical challenges of just doing your job. So that's what we deal with when we talk about tactical fitness. It's just not some cool word we put in front of fitness or athlete. It actually means something for these professions. And I've been writing about it for over 20 years now. So I appreciate your time. If you guys have any more questions, just send them. And until next week, we'll do a live Q&A probably Tuesday next week. And we'll go from there. Send me some videos if you want me to critique them. See you later.